Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Angel webinar entitled South-North Partnerships, a possible pathway toward democracy, promoting education in the era of digitalization. My name is Magdalena Kuleta-Hulboy, and I am from the Faculty of Education, University of Warsaw. I am also a member of the Angel Advisory Board, and I will chair this session today. This session will last around 90 minutes. We have one presentation, but three speakers today. Annette Scheunpflug from Otto-Friedrich-University in Bamberg in Germany. Onja, who is teacher educator from Madagascar, and Susanne Timm, also from Otto-Friedrich-University in Bamberg, Germany. And our speakers will reflect on and conceptualize some conditions for effective South-North school partnerships, building on empirical data from the project. Annette, you will be the first speaker. The floor is yours, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Magdalena. Thank you, Kester, for organizing this. And we are very happy to be with you this afternoon to reflect about democracy education from a South-North partnership perspective. So we can see worldwide threats to democracy. And of course, we need more and better democracy education. But when we talk about democracy education, this is mostly done in relation to the national context. And this we see as a restriction to democracy education for two reasons. The one reason is that in the global dimension, we see that international and multilateral bodies are dealing with the globe. And to reflect that means that the process of regulation of our living together needs to transcend the nation state. And the second reason is that global conditions as digitalization and challenges such as the climate crisis are global, and they affect globally, so not only in national boundaries. And so for that, democracy education from our perspective needs to be much more globally opened. And the global dimension is, by this, in our perspective, a requirement to foster social justice, because without this global justice, democracy cannot exist. And if we do this, we need to listen and to be together with the global south. And a lot of schools in Europe and above have partnerships with schools in the global south. And therefore, we think that it's time to use these partnerships to foster democracy education. And our research project is in this context. And it was our objective and is our objective to reflect the needs from the perspective of the global south on democracy education and how we can use this we can do democracy education in a digital framework. So our project has the name Global Perspectives on Digital Democratic School Development. It was funded by German bodies, and we will explain you this project in the overview you see here. And we do this together. So Susanne and me having worked on this project from the North perspective, and we have done and run the whole project with our colleague Dr. Onja from Madagascar, and we are very happy and delighted to be today with you, Onja. So what is the conceptual framework of this study? First, digitality, the digital conditions, because digitality is now a world society cultural condition, and it has an impact on the understanding of the world and the structure of knowledge and communication. You all know this, and we have a lot of knowledge and not a lot in mind how the digitalization is shaping, especially the world understanding of young people. So digitality is indispensable as an object, as a reflective background for democracy-related education, and as well, it can be used as a tool. Democracy is more than just a form of negotiation during social and political regulation processes. So Habermas, who passed away a month ago, said that it is a form of accommodating forms of life. So democracy is not just a structure, but it is based on values that are embedded in routines of communication. And that means that more and more we need the routine to have communication together with the Global South and not separated. And this is reflected in modeling democracy-related pedagogy. And as a modus of governing and life, democracy, and that's what I mentioned already, needs to be related to the context of the world society, which comes to be in the multidimensional and increased complexity of globalization. So we can see this globalization in terms of space, in terms of time, in terms of all the facts which are running about the globe, and in social dimensions. And our final theoretical aspect is that democracy requires a democratic habitus in order to function. And by this, experiences are crucial for democracy. So participatory approaches are conditions for democracy promoting education. And this then leads to our empirical background, the understanding of global learning in partnerships. So education for democracy proves to be challenging, and in view of the complexity, it is linked to consideration of global education, and it has been always developed from there. So in terms of practice, partnership between the Global South and the Global North means that students need to experience their worldviews. School partnerships can be understood as a space, a learning space for communication, a learning space for the change of perspective and empathy that transcends the local area. And empirical research shows that even the arrangement aimed at learning within a world society context, this is not always achieved. So we know that we need to take care about how the learning looks like to promote global education. And then this means as well that democracy promoting global education, it is learning through and by democracy, and not only about. And it's learning through and by the global perspective, and not only about. And therefore, for us, the reflection of how to do global learning and democracy education in this global perspective was at the heart and at the beginning of our research project, which will now be explained by Susanne.
Yes, thank you very much. Taking into account this theoretical and already existing empirical background and sub aspects as learning through encounters, impacts of participative experiences and worldviews of teachers toward change, we wanted to explore the potential of South-North partnerships for democracy promoting education with digitality as a global component. The focus was put on experiences and perceptions of teachers and stakeholders in the global South, while they are crucial for global partnership without being heard intensely in Europe so far. Therefore, we asked for experiences of educational professionals in the global South with partnerships and their perceptions concerning democracy and digitality. The aim is to ensure that the voices of all participants are heard in a spirit of partnership. The contribution is based on data collected in different southern contexts. In Madagascar and Cameroon, 10 guided interviews were conducted with school principals and education managers at larger school authorities. For this task, we thank especially our colleagues in Madagascar and Cameroon for organizing and conducting the interviews, also for collaborative feedback to our interpretations. Second, the discussions in topic-related workshops were recorded at an international conference for school leaders and education stakeholders in sub-Saharan Africa. The topic of the conference has been School Education in a Digitalized World. 1 month after the conference, 3 online group discussions were conducted with a total of 14 participants from 8 different sub-Saharan countries. Verbatim transcripts of all the data were produced and analyzed using inductive qualitative content analysis. The results were validated communicatively by 2 research teams. Four thematic lines emerged in the course of the analysis: the perception of partnership, that of democracy, that of digitalization, and the perception of world society. The key points of each of these topics will now be outlined. The understanding of partnership is based on a geographically broadly diversified portfolio of experiences, ranging from neighborly relations to those in other continents. The priorities, the focus of these partnerships are varied: thematic or co-working, exchange to solve practical problems, as well as teaching experiences. From an educational perspective, we consider it particularly relevant that all respondents emphasized learning through shared experiences combined with reflective exchange within a partnership context. And now, Onja, I'm very curious what you are thinking and reflecting on this topic.
Yes, thank you very much. As a teacher educator, partnership is crucial to enhance collaboration and to learn from one another. I may say that it's a win-win situation according to my experiences and taking into account the practical context of Malagasy education and taking into account the teachers' working and living conditions. Partnership in education is seen as an essential means of addressing the deficiencies, not only in terms of resources such as material, infrastructure, financial, even human resources, but also in training to improve the quality education. Indeed, the sustainability of partnership depends on mutual trust, clear communication, and shared responsibilities concerning, for example, commitment, follow-up, governance, actions, even decision-making, in order to avoid dependency as well. As a scientist, little is still known concerning the potential of South-North partnership for democracy promoting education, especially in Madagascar. And this leads Susanne to continue with the education professionals' perception of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. The data shows that democracy is consistently perceived as positive, regardless of the specific challenges posed by local circumstances. Fundamental values are articulated strongly with dominant references to freedom, primarily freedom of opinion and freedom of speech. Democracy is seen as a prerequisite for a better life for all, an idea with an anti-elitist traits beyond traditional obligations. One of the interviews was run with a headmaster of an urban faith-based school in Madagascar. Banana expressed his positive and in the same time ambivalent experience concerning democracy education in the following way. Yes, so democracy is at school. So democracy is what we learn, what democracy is, how to live democracy, what it's worth, how it happens, and all that. That's something we teach pupils at school. And it's far from clear to them because it's quite different. I'd even say very different from what they learn in class. That's all. Based on quotations like this, we identified a theory-practice gap concerning democracy, and that also applies to practices in schools. From this, we conclude that there is a need to create spaces for experiencing democracy. And this is relevant for everyone in the school community, for teachers, for school leaders, and students alike. The attitude towards digitalization and digitality is largely positive. It is considered the key to solving all kinds of problems in a straightforward way. The widespread approval, even positivist attitude, is confronted by a number of limitations. For example, a lack of knowledge and skills was mentioned, particularly with regard to integrating digital tools into lessons and instructing students on how to use them. Beyond the classroom context, digitalization is seen as an opportunity to participate in the world and to position oneself more broadly. This is initially relates to access to more information, but it also ensures that one is visible on the internet and better connected to the world. Digitalization is perceived as an opportunity to foster partnerships and build relationships. And now, Onja, please, you like to add something here.
Yes, thank you. I would like to add my reflection concerning the opportunities related to the use of digitalization despite different regulations, which are different from one institution to another one, from one region to another region, and so on. Aside from the wide range of activities that can be carried out using digitalization in school, its use presents an opportunity to promote collaboration, to enable networking, to exchange ideas, and to implement a joint project through South-North cooperation, and I may say as well through South-South partnership. For example, the use of digital means is relevant in training, in teaching, and in learning, and in problem solving, as it was said before. However, according to my experiences, the misuse of digital tools, which means the use of digital tools without knowledge, without knowing them, or uncritically use them, or overrely on them, it may reduce the critical thinking, whether teachers or learners, trainer or trainee. In addition, it may lead to individualization, social disconnection, even exclusion for those who don't have access on them. Nevertheless, as Susanne said before, digitality is considered as the key to solving all kinds of problems. It may improve teacher and learner critical reflection, improve their engagement, their social connection, and the relationship in the global world. And now I give you back the floor, Susanne, to talk about the Southern professionals' perception of the world society.
Yes, thank you very much. Across all data, it is clear that belonging to the global village is taken for granted. The interviewees show a rich experience of communication and exchange with people outside their immediate neighborhood. For them, exchange represents an opportunity for learning and expanding their own worldview. The idea is shared that gaining more ideas about more options leads to more actions. This understanding of world society is linked to the need for participation to promote democracy habits. We can summarize that we found extended experiences of professionals from the Global South concerning partnership. Democracy education is mostly linked so far to cognitive instruction. Digitality is seen as an opportunity to enhance the quality of teaching and learning. And it is self-understanding to be embedded in the world as a whole. If we reflect now on implications for democracy promoting education through partnerships, the following opportunities can be identified. They affect the initiation, the organization, and the reflection of school partnerships. For school partnerships to be successful, they should be based on the participation of a diverse range of stakeholders and groups. This makes them spaces where democracy can be experienced through participation in negotiation processes. This applies especially to South-North partnerships, as issues of unequal distribution of power and complex decision-making processes can be practiced. They are also learning opportunities for democracy as they transcend the immediate environment and require the development of negotiation modes in the obvious intertwining of the foreign and the familiar. School partnerships can promote democracy by facilitating the transition from information to tangible knowledge through exchange. Topics such as climate change can be addressed with a new sense of relevance and become more accessible in all their complexity. According to the interviewees, knowledge can also enable them to see their own political environment from a different perspective, a reflective distance that allows for more options for action. Theoretically, understanding that one's own position is part of the global society is a necessity, but not sufficient condition for referring to the global one's action. Equally necessary are participative experiences of connectedness, as well as reflections on the mode of one's own perception. Please, Onja, you'd like to add here something?
Yeah, thank you. So, with regards to partnership, I think that ensuring sustainability and reducing dependency are crucial. Shared responsibilities in terms of financing, governance, actions, regular follow-up and evaluation should involve all stakeholders, namely the partners, the government, the policymakers, the communities, the principals, administrators, even teachers, and so on. So in my perspective, strengthening soft collaboration via the soft-north partnership may reduce dependency on donations on the resources of the North. In addition, it may enhance peer learning and capacity building as well. I may take the example related to the transfer of theoretical knowledge to experience-based knowledge and promoting action through experience of connectedness. And according to my own experiences and in the framework of elite project, educational leadership implementation and development in developing countries at Christian school and universities in sub-Saharan Africa, in service training and distance learning for primary teacher projects in Madagascar by connecting learning to practical skills, culture, and local contexts, which allows these projects to foster both individual empowerment and collaborative participation. And now, floor is yours. Susanne, thank you.
Thank you very much. Digitally changes modes of communication and interaction. People come closer to each other, and in the same time, authenticity becomes a game. But people need to know and to trust each other beyond their physical environment. So, school partnership can offer pedagogical, reflective, and supported opportunities to experience and to learn about communication in the digital world society. As already mentioned, digitality has a deep impact on school. And in this respect, it can also become the subject of learning in the framework of school partnerships. The transition of the epistemic status of knowledge is relevant for teachers because it affects their professional self-image. This challenge is realized in the North and in the South. Because of this, school partnerships offer an opportunity for learning communities to reflect deeply on substantial changes for schooling through digitality. This deeper learning expands on one's own context, and it becomes a means of education for democracy by learning across boundaries and gaining a deeper insight into critical aspects of digital communication. South-North school partnerships in digitality offer particular potential for learning democracy through cross-context problem solving. This can be practiced in a participative and cooperative way, thus transcending the national framework of political education. And here I'm very happy that you, Onja, like to add something.
Yeah, according to my experiences from the distance learning of Malagasy primary teachers, it is necessary to foster digital equity, which means equal access to digital tools, competencies, and taking into consideration the diversity of contexts, such as the access to electricity, access to training, access even to the internet connection, in order to reduce educational inequality and enable participatory learning. This implies the need of training for teachers to integrate digital tools in their teaching and learning. From my participation in Japan Teacher Academy Global Pedagogical Network on digitalization and Protestant schools, the international exchanges among educators are essential to promote the practice of intercultural and democratic dialogue, and this shows also the potential of South-North partnership for democracy, promoting education with digitality. And now I give you back the floor, Susanne.
Thank you very much, and I will hand over to Annette for our conclusion and outlook.
So what you can see is that there is an outstanding interest for exchange. And this outstanding interest for exchange was visible on the very different levels in the school, from school teachers to the hierarchy, and from the very different experiences. But it shows, and that is the interesting point, the different discursive cultures. So doing democracy promoting partnership, you need to have an understanding of your own position and sensitivity to the contextual appropriatedness of each activity. So in a German context, to be very discursive and very discussive is an appropriate approach which might not be shared in all other schools. And that means that teachers have to learn to act in this environment and to promote democracy education maybe in a different way than they're used to do it in their own classroom. Space for democracy education is of high importance, and therefore it is very important to advocate partnership with shared goals within a balanced power relationship to provide space for experiences of participation. And what Onja was saying, for example, that the unequal resources are a huge challenge, this must be taken into consideration and overcome in a way so that everybody has the same possibilities and chances to participate. And by this, there's a huge need for awareness towards social injustice through digitalization. And a non-reflected digital use in partnerships may deepen the different injustices even more, and therefore to reflect how the digital gap can be bridged and how partnerships can contribute to having a shared possibility for exchange is of very importance. So this was a short perspective in our research. But our research has the objective, and this is now the steps we are in the moment working in, that we have now produced first teacher trainings for teachers in Germany to work in South-North partnerships in a discursive culture and in an appropriate way. Secondly, we are developing, and we have already nearly finished, digital trainings for teachers working in this context. Digital trainings to allow them to foster democracy education in a global perspective in partnerships. And we do them now in the moment in German, and they will be provided by the 250 UNESCO schools, so schools in the UNESCO framework of Germany, who have a partnership with a school in the Global South to use it to bring their partnership in a higher and better quality. And then the next step would be to have this material in English so that it is shared on a global perspective in a global way for teachers to learn how to do partnerships and how to improve partnerships in a digital world. That was a short insight in our research, and now we are very much looking forward to listen to your questions and to discuss our findings with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your results and for the inspiration. So I think we may finish today's seminar. Thank you very much, Annette, Onja, and Susanne for your presentation, for the results, and for food for thought.